it does all the tool does all the work for you. And it's like super easy. I think scale modelers have been doing this for years, and train enthusiasts and miniature painters alike. It's not very difficult. You just need to get some blister foam, and if you've got models that you've bought that had, you know, blister foam, save it. Because one, it's good for cleaning your super bottle, or your super glue bottle tops, so it doesn't get all congealed. And then two, it's good for chipping. Yeah, Herald of Nurgle is like the big kind of bloated looking guy, right? He's got like the big, is it an axe, I think? He's got like either it's an axe or a scythe, I can't remember which it is, but yeah, he's a pretty cool looking model. He's got like all the pustules and definitely a lot of opportunities to do some cool effects with kind of like boils and, you know, putrid skin and all kinds of cool things like that. Top already? Yeah, I did. Let's go on, Slick Ricky. Welcome back. We're doing some rusting. I'm running out of paint. And so a lot of this, if you're not too concerned with like how your paint really comes out, like I'll do some that are a little more weathered than others, and that's kind of on the assumption that I'll be chipping more of it further down the line. But I want to leave some of these that aren't as weathered, because they tend to keep shipping containers in fairly good condition. The stuff that we're using them for, my dad and I, half of these are his, half of them are mine. So I'll probably weather mine a little more than his. But you know, kind of like post-apoc, zombie, you know, world gone, some form of apocalypse, you know, nuclear or infected or zombie overrun or whatever you want to call it. If you're in a wet place that sees a lot of rain and you're not maintaining, you know, paint coats over a couple years, I mean, this stuff will go really fast. Oh, nice. Yeah, let me take a look at that real quick. Oh, cool. With like a purple skin tone. That's awesome, man. Good work on the eyes. You got the tongue and everything in the teeth. Yeah, very cool, man. You said you had just started painting, right? Coming out his back in a hole. His guts falling out. Yeah, I must be thinking of a different Nurgle model there, Big Rouser. But yeah, I mean, take your pick of what Nurgle is going to look like, right? It's going to be either a big bloated guy with, you know, a big old axe, or, you know, he's going to have boils, or like a mask with, like, you know, the holes in it. And, I mean, Nurgle, there's just so much good iconography from what GW's given them in terms of models and kind of background material. There's some really cool, just like gritty, grungy, nasty. You know, the Blight drones are really cool from Forge World. It's like, imagine like a mechanical fly that's got like, you know, sores, a nasty like stinger kind of looking thing coming out the back of it. Third mini painted, that's pretty good, man. Definitely have the talent for it. Tell you what, if you practice, you'll only get better, which is the cool thing. It's kind of one of those little bit every day, you know, do an hour, half an hour, you know, even if it's not every day, every other day. I got a bunch of roads done over the weekend. I was down at my parents visiting, so I was down in the hobby room. My dad and I were just down there chatting and was working on some roads that are, you know, worn down and busted up. So I'm actually thinking I might do that here on stream as well. Just finish the last two that I've got. At least get the designs drawn out for how I want to do them. If I don't get them glued, I'll at least get the cuts. Oh, so you actually have 3 of them? Nice. Oh, they actually did, they had, like, Plague Bearer guys that were riding, like, nasty-looking... They're, like, flies or something like that? They were, like, mutated demon flies or something like that. There's the Blight drones, which are kind of, like, more mechanical, and then there are these, I guess, like, flies or wasps or something that they've got. It's a hair. Let's get that out of there. No rhyme intended. It's a piece of, bristle, looks like. Or actually, it's probably from the primer. Sometimes you get stuff in the air that gets propelled into the propellant when you're spray priming, and it gets stuck on the model. Alright, so that's cool. Those are all done. Yeah, so here's what we got. We got a whole pile of shipping containers, which are pretty cool. You can stack them, and the lids come off. I guess you can do stuff inside of them, but I don't know. They're just going to be dark red for now. Yeah, actually, my dad got me into the hobby at a young age. Probably like 3 or 4 is when I first started painting minis. They weren't good, obviously, but got to start somewhere. And I think, like, whoa, crap. Middle school, I think, was when I really started focusing in on... I did a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff through middle school and high school, because it was big at the time. Should I just go ahead and do the dumpsters since I've got all this stuff out? I might as well. Yep, I think we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna bother with the airbrush, but I'll, at the end of my rope here for my headset. Actually, no, I can just do this. I can just bring the whole box in. How about that? Solve that problem. So we'll do these dumpsters too. Because you gotta have scattered terrain when you're doing modern gaming. You know, dumpsters and all kinds of stuff back behind your buildings and on the side of the roads and, you know, and fences and all that kind of good stuff. Right, so let's get these kind of out of the way. And I think I'm not going to bother with the, because I don't think I'm going to weather these as much as the shipping containers, but I don't think I'm going to bother with the airbrush on these so much. But what I do need to do is get kind of a base color back down. For this, I think I'm just going to use the largest side of the sponge here. Try and get the most surface area. So again, just dabbing and getting some base color down. Again, with the dog here. So probably, I don't know, should I do the... I guess I can do a little bit of the inside. Not a whole lot, you know, just enough to give it some variety. Yeah, just like that, you know. Sponge. Nothing fancy. Just sponge and paint. And the cool thing is, as soon as you layer a bunch of these colors in, it all just kind of blends. And actually, this is how I did. I didn't airbrush the soda machines that I did, but it came out looking pretty much almost exactly like how these are going to turn out. I can show those to you here in a second. Make sure I don't have paint on my gloves. Although if it gets on there, it's not going to be too big of a deal because it's orange and rusted. But these are the vending machines that I did that are kind of bright. You see here. I can bring these into focus here. Yeah, so these are like vending machines that have been weathered, kind of with the same process, but you basically go through the chipping. You can see like it's sprayed all the way across, and it's got a very high gloss right now because I was going to do decals on it at some point. But you know, this is the chipping effect that you get when you use the rust chipping effects. And then I just did some sponging and painting to kind of give like a Oh, that's much better. There we go. I wasn't in focus. So yeah, there you can kind of see these are enamel streaking stuff. Enamel paints. And there's the chipping that you get, and you kind of see the different colors of rust underneath there. So yeah, it's a fun process. It takes a while, but it gives a really realistic effect when you're all said and done with everything. Definitely worth it in the long run if you're kind of focused on doing kind of somewhat realistic terrain, because it's cool to have your models painted really nice, but then you know, why stop at just kind of like doing easy dry brushing and washes with your terrain as well, right? It's like go big or go home. Oh, thanks. Not hard to do. Just it's a lengthy process, and it's just a series of steps that you need to replicate to get the effect. But you know, when it's all said and done, it really it's the I think it's the streaking grime that really does it. And that's just enamel paint, and all you have to do is do a gloss coat once you've got all your base colors down, and then you just kind of do some very thin lines. And actually, I use like a very long brush, and I just kind of tap the brush, kind of loaded with that streaking stuff, and then you just get like white spirit or mineral spirits, and just kind of get like a big wide flat brush and just damp the brush a little bit, and then just kind of drag it vertically down the model like it would be, you know, rain streaks. And you've got grime and you've got rain streaks, and it does this whole thing, and then you actually have rusting streaks, and you just kind of layer it on and reseal it with gloss, and once it's all said and done, it turns out looking pretty good. Those guys know what they're doing for the scale terrain department, you know, the 135th, you know, tanks and vehicles and all that kind of stuff. They've got tons of really cool product out there that you can use to get really nice effects on your models. You know, you just kind of have to spring for the initial startup cost, but you know, I think hairspray is another option people use. You do the hairspray or salt technique. You basically just kind of lay that down and brush it off when it's all done, and it gives it like a similar kind of effect. A little more difficult to get the exact effects that you want, because obviously when you're laying salt down, it's a little kind of haphazard. But if that's what you're going for, it's absolutely one way to do it. I'm just really hoping this primer is going to hold up. This plastic is kind of, it's kind of slick. It doesn't have like a very matte finish to it. It's very kind of glossy finish for the plastic. I don't know if I use like an actual plastic primer on these. I think this is just like a indoor-outdoor primer. But it was a dark red kind of rust color already, so that was what I went for. The cool thing is like all these models are separate, so you get basically the dumpster, you get, oh, actually, no, crap, let me zoom back in so you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. Someone call me out when I do that. Goofed. Just finished up what I got. Wet paint on this sponge so it doesn't dry out. But these dumpsters I think come in like 3 pieces, I want to say. You get the dumpster itself, you get a back part of the lid, and then you get the actual lid piece. And I kept the lid pieces separate because I'm planning the dumpsters so that fits on in the back like that. And then I primed the lids black, so that all I have to do is some dry brushing and metal work there. But this actually kind of fits in here like that. And if I can get this right, I think it goes in like that and then it hooks on. Right, like that. And I'm getting orange paint. But yeah, that's the dumpster there, and then the lid just, it doesn't go all the way back, which kind of sucks, but yeah, it's your dumpster. And then what do I have? I've got like this guy's about a 28 mil size miniature. So I mean, they're fairly big dumpsters, but you know, that's gonna block line of sight for pretty much any game system. And you need, you know, like 3 or 4 of them, and that's it. You're set. You know, you use them for modern, you can use them for zombies, you can use them for, you know, if you wanted to use them, you could probably stretch it to 40k. I mean, throw some skulls on it. The Imperial, what is it? Recycling?